On the news, court sentences BRT driver Minikoron to death by hanging for killing fashion designer Bamishe. United States FBI and DEA failed to release dossier on Tinubu, seek 90-day extension. And NCDC warns of cholera surge, gives updates on other outbreaks. It's a pleasure to have you join News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Joy Uchejem. Now, after 3 long years, the High Court sitting in the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos have convicted and sentenced to death a bus rapid transit BRT driver, Andrew Minikoron, for the murder of a 22-year-old fashion designer, Bamishe Ayonwola. In a judgment that lasted over 2.5 hours, Justice Serifat Shonaike held that the prosecution, the Lagos State government, successfully proved beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the offense. Although there was no eyewitness account of the incident, the court relied on a series of circumstantial evidence, the evidence of the pathologist and the dying declaration of the victim, all of which the judge held pointed solely to the defendant as the last person to see her before her death on February 26, 2022.
This I see is the first phase. So, because he didn't do this thing alone, all right? So, from the admissible voice notes Bamishe dropped, were made to know that there are other people in the vehicle. All right, there are other people in the vehicle. So if this is all Nigeria police can give us, they cannot bring the phone she was using to do the conversation. Because when this guy was tracked, he was actually tracked. We were tracking the phone of Bamishe and himself, and they were in the same location. All right. So when you got this guy, definitely Bamishe's phone was with him. All right. So what happened? What about these other accomplices? All right. So for the judgment given on him, it is a maximum. Okay. So it is the maximum. There is nothing bigger than being hanged. He has been given sentence by to death by hanging. So this is the maximum anybody can get.
Andrew Minikoron with others at large. It was confirmed in the court here. So the question now is, who are those other 3 or 4 people? They should be identified, named, and brought to justice. That is our stand. So we're having a demand. It's a 3-point demand, not demands, just one demand. In the civil society, that was one demand. If 2 are met, 1 is not met, justice has not been given. That is one. Those who were there in the bus, as at the time Bamishe was murdered, should be identified, named, and brought to justice.
And in other stories, the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Drug Enforcement Administration have requested a 90-day extension from a district court to produce documents relating to an alleged drug investigation involving President Bola Tinubu dating back to the 1990s. The request was submitted in a joint status report filed with the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. The case stemmed from a series of Freedom of Information Act requests by an American legal transparency advocate and founder of the platform Plainsight, Aaron Greenspan, who is seeking the release of records connected to a Chicago-based drug ring and has named Tinubu along with 3 other individuals. And the National Assembly has pledged its full support for the Progressive Institute, an initiative of the All Progressives Congress APC dedicated to training young Nigerians in democratic principles, leadership and governance. The Deputy President of the Senate, Jibrin Barau, gave the assurance while receiving the Director General of the Institute, Lanre Adebayo, and members of his management team during a courtesy visit to the National Assembly complex in Abuja. Barau further explained his personal commitment to ensuring the success of the Progressive Institute.
Really, I commended all of you, commended National Chairman. So my recommendation goes to National Chairman, and of course, all of you, for bringing this institute into our country. And it's not going, all I know is that it's not going to be to the benefit of APC as a party. No, 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 no. It's not going to be. It's a journey for the entire democracy in this country. Not even this country, in the entire region. And thank God I'm the first deputy speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament. So I will also want to plead. I also want you to extend your tentacles beyond the confines of this country.
We are determined to enhance peace and stability of this country, and also to ensure growth and development of all sectors, despite the global challenges of the economy and the insecurity. We have the belief of our leadership that we can be able to achieve a progressive and a vibrant progress, as you will partner with you to enhance progress of this country.
An environment where party leaders can interact without competing, where they can interact and engage in discussing common issues concerning the party, issues of leadership, issues of financing, issues of reviewing what we've done in the last 2 years. Because by 2020, May 2020, May 29th, we will have been 2 years in government. How far have we done in terms of managing the party at the state level, and what we can do more, and then reviewing the manifesto of the party.
And moving to health matters, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has issued a public health advisory following a significant surge in cholera cases across 30 local government areas in 9 states. During a media briefing in Abuja, the Director General of the NCDC, Jide Idris, expressed concern over the rising number of cholera infections as the rainy season begins, warning that the situation poses a serious public health threat. Idris attributed the outbreak to poor sanitation, inadequate access to clean water, and widespread open defecation.
Cholera remains endemic in Nigeria, particularly in communities with limited access to clean water and sanitation. It is a highly contagious infection caused by a bacterium called the Vibrio cholerae and can be fatal without prompt and adequate treatment. As we approach the peak of the rainy season, a concerning trend in cholera transmission is emerging. During the presentation of the 2025 Annual Flood Outlook, the federal government issued a warning to 30 states and the Federal Capital Territory about imminent flood risks. Notably, this year's outlook introduced a community-based forecasting approach designed to enhance preparedness and early response efforts across vulnerable regions. According to the forecast, 1,200 communities in 176 local government areas have been identified as high flood risk zones, and an additional 2,187 communities in 293 local government areas are classified as being at moderate risk of flooding. This proactive dissemination of localized flood risk data is expected to drive coordinated action at the federal, state, and community levels, ensuring timely interventions that can help prevent waterborne disease outbreaks like cholera. NCDC is actively tracking these occurrences. As at the epidemiological week 16, that is that week ending April 20th, 1,307 suspected cases of cholera have been reported across 30 states and 98 local government areas, with 34 associated deaths.
And in furtherance of its commitment to strategically position Ogoni youths in high-demand skilled areas, the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, at the CRAB Theatre Arts Department, University of Port Harcourt, has commenced the livelihood training of 100 Ogoni youths in creative arts, one of the 4 specialized skills in its Sustainable Livelihood Program. The project coordinator of HYPREP, Neni Barini Zabe, represented by the Director, Technical Services, Damian Paul Aguyi, said the program is in fulfillment of the project's promise to provide value addition and high-demand skills for Ogoni youths. He emphasized that the strategic partnership with the Theatre Arts Department of the University of Port Harcourt is to ensure quality training for the trainees.
Take this training seriously. Learn what you can. A knowledge acquired is yours. It is not the people paying for it that owns it. It is you who's been trained that owns this knowledge. And it is you who can put it to use. And so, he said that you should bring yourself on a cool compartment. Listen to the distinguished lecturers who are going to teach you. They are men of experience. The same people who train some of the Nollywood people you know around. All our own people. They all pass through this Uniport School of Theatre Arts. So you are in a fertile environment. So the program is in 2 phases. The first phase is a 3-week theory program. And then in the 4th week, we'll have the master classes. That is where we'll have Charles Inoche, we'll have Gesu, Judodo to take you on all these other aspects so that you have an industry-based training experience. It's that's why we call it a master class, one-on-one with a resource person who is a celebrity in that area.
I feel overwhelmed because this program, we have applied for a long time now. So when I saw the message that I should come for this orientation program, I was so happy. I had to leave Akwa Ibom State to my state in order for me to partake in this program. So I'm happy. I thank HYPOEM for this wonderful program that they gave to the people of Ogoni. I'm so happy.
And on to security matters, some of the villagers in communities that suffered deadly attacks from suspected herders in early April in Bokos local government area of the North Central Plateau State have begun returning home to begin life all over again. At least 50 villagers were killed and many others displaced when the gunmen attacked several villages, especially at Horti community in Bokos. The villagers blame Fulani herders for the attack and are demanding justice. TV360 special correspondent Deji Badmosi has more on the story.
Inspecting what's left of his home after the attacks of April 2nd.
Okay.
Mareng Arandom Makwan is the head, or Sef as they're called locally, of Huti community where the attacks took place. His house is among the over 100 burnt and looted when the suspected armed headers raided the community in broad daylight. Despite his loss, he's lucky to be alive. Over 50 of his subjects were not so lucky. They were brutally killed by the attackers.
They were 3 in 1 on motorcycles. More than 40 something number of the motorcycles with the men on their own gunshots. The other person is taking this direction with their driver. The other person is taking this direction. Non-stop, no nothing, firing. He who it gets you, it has gotten you. He who that escape is escape. And from that time, I'm assuring you, from that 3 o'clock until 8 something, until when the security came, it was where that thing stops. Because after firing first, killing, then they come back starting burning houses, looting of food crops and other wells. Some motorcycles burned, some motorcycles collected, cars burning, and a lot of money in these various houses, which our people are planning for this fast coming season to buy fertilizers, some of their fertilizers and whatsoever. They looted it, they burned others.
Almost everyone in the community was affected.
I lost so many things, most especially I lost my relations, I lost my friends, I lost my children, I lost, in fact, my house, I lost livestock, I lost food and what have you.
I lost a lot of friends, which I'm in pain, but I thank God. All the clothes, all the friends, my parents that we miss, and look at my house, it's burned. No food, but by His grace, I thank God with what our government are doing. They help us with some food and clothes. That is why you can see me like this, because I don't have any clothes to wear. But this is what some my friends offer me from the neighboring village.
Many of the dead have since been buried in this mass grave. Despite their pain and loss, the survivors remain undaunted.
My people are back. They are farming now. And I still ask government if it is true. Let them assist us with fertilizer and security very well. Because once there is security, everybody will be comfortable to farm, to take care of the farm, and it is their wealth. We shall come back to maybe the first level we were before, by God's grace. And I'm praying, let these things serve as the beginning and end of it.
The immediate need I want presently is food, because people are taking refuge at the Houthi Market Square, whereby we don't have food, and followed by we need medication, because right now some people are in hospital, and in fact we need roofing materials in order to roof our houses, because it's the rainy season, whereby we need to go back to farm, and we don't have anywhere to settle. We don't have clothing because many of our clothing were burned off.
Plateau State has a history of deadly clashes between farmers and herders, but Houthi community had been spared until the attack of April 2nd. The villagers blamed the attack on Fulani herders, who they say had long been living in the community.
They pretend it is the unknown people that came. But lively, I have the names of our neighbors, the Fulanis, because they were talking Fulani language. And there are some of the Fulanis that they are the very people that save over 100 of my people, even. No, 70. Not up to 100. 50 to 70. They save. And they were communicating. It is when the Fulani say, don't do it, they will not. But using their language. If they say do it, they will do it by their language. If there is any new faces that came, but the plan is originated by the neighbors we are living together. And I have their list now.
But before then we were living peacefully. We don't know, in fact, how this initiative just came up. But looking at what is happening, I look at it as if these people are looking for an area to graze their cattle in order to live and farm and enjoy their life.
The survivors are still mourning their loss, but they vowed never to abandon their land, regardless of the attacks.
I better die in this land because that is the oath I have taken. I will die here. Anybody that runs to another place, I know if he die, they will bring his corpse here, and it is here they will bury him. That is why I feel let my people not go anywhere. I ask the government if there is an assistance, food, security, network, right? If I can get this road, thank you. If I can get these 4 things for any act, somebody will inform us.
The attacks of April 2nd shattered the peace that has long existed in Houthi community. The mutual trust between the natives and the settlers is now broken. Mending it will definitely take a long time. Some say a lifetime. DG Bademasi, TV 360, Huruti, Plateau State, North Central Nigeria.
And we'll go on a short break now, but still to come, AFDB commits $650 million annually to drive Nigeria's economic transformation. Details of this story will be brought to you right after this break. Welcome back. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. The Lagos High Court sitting in Tafawa Balewa Square has convicted and sentenced to death a bus rapid transit driver, Andrew Minikoron, for the murder of a 22-year-old fashion designer, Bamiche Ayonwola. In a judgment that lasted over 2.5 hours, Justice Serifa Chunaike held that the prosecution, the Lagos State government, successfully proved beyond reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the crime. We also told you that the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Drug Enforcement Administration have requested a 90-day extension from a district court to produce documents relating to an alleged drug investigation involving President Bola Tinubu dating back to the 1990s. The request was submitted in a joint status report filed with the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. And in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and ABO TV. Or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And it's now time for business news, and Okwayemi Owusheni is on standby. Okwayemi, what's the latest?
Thank you, Joy. Well, the African Development Bank has approved a new 5-year country strategy paper for Nigeria, committing about $650 million annually to drive Nigeria's economic transformation. The bank, in a statement published on its website, disclosed that the fund will not only drive economic transformation, but also build resilience and foster broad-based prosperity across the country. Under the new strategy, the bank will provide $2.95 billion over the first 4 years, complemented by an estimated $3.21 billion in co-financing from development partners. We'll go on a break now and be back with update from the stock markets. Welcome back. Now, investors' interest in consumer goods and industrial stocks pushed equities value higher by 182 billion naira in the 4-day trading week ended Friday, May 2nd, 2025. Nigeria stock market rose by 0.23% in the week under review, following 3 days of positive closes as against a day of negative close. Now, Nigerian Aviation Handling Co. led the gainers with a 10% share price appreciation, closing at 82 naira 50 kobo per share. Just followed closely by Cadbury Nigeria, which closed at 31 naira 90 kobo per share. Now, overall, investors exchanged 573 million shares across 18,551 deals with a market value of 13 billion naira. Now, when compared with the previous NGX trading day, that's Wednesday, April 30th, today's data shows 46% improvement in volume, 9% improvement in turnover, and 6% improvement in the number of deals. Now, turning our gaze to the international market, it's a similar situation as all the stock recorded bullish trade. Now, Now, in the foreign exchange market, the Naira continues to weaken against major currencies as of today. The US dollar is trading at 1,620 Naira, the British pound at 2,060 Naira, and the euros at 1,730 Naira on the black market. And that's a wrap on today's market report. Joy, over to you now for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Okbayami. And now in other countries, Gaza's Civil Defense Agency says Israeli strikes has killed at least 20 people on Friday in the Palestinian territory, devastated by war and under a total Israeli aid blockade for 2 months. Israel resumed its military campaign in the Gaza Strip on March 18th after a ceasefire that had largely halted the fighting collapsed. Civil defense official Mohammed al-Mughai told journalists 20 people had been killed since dawn on Friday, including 9 following the Israeli bombardment of a home in Buresh camp in central Gaza. And still on the foreign scene, the Duke of Sussex has lost his legal challenge against the Home Office over his UK security arrangements. Prince Harry challenged the dismissal of his High Court claim against the Home Office after the Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures decided he should receive a reduced degree of security protection when in the country. Delivering the court's ruling, Judge Sir Geoffrey Voss said although the Duke's arguments were powerful and moving, he could not say the Duke's sense of grievance translated into a legal argument for the challenge to Ravek's decision. And finally on sports, the Nigerian National League NNL has imposed a fine of 3 million naira on Gosulakpebio FC for assault and intimidation of match officials. The NNL also ordered the Uyo Township Stadium closed to fans for the remainder of the season. Gosulakpebio FC were found guilty of assault and intimidation of match officials during their match day 15 encounter with Rovers FC, which ended in a 2-2 draw. And still on sport, English centre-back Eric Dier will leave Bayern Munich at the end of the season when his contract is up, the club's sporting director has disclosed on Friday. Dier's contract expires on June 30th, but Bayern are still in talks in a bid to extend that temporarily to cover the Club World Cup, which runs from March 14th to July 13th in the United States. He touched down in Munich on loan in January 2024, establishing himself as a starter in defense alongside Majes de Ligt under then-coach Thomas Tuchel. And that wraps up our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Joy Ucheje. See you next time.